హాయ్ అండి. ఇవాళ మనం మన లోకల్ ఫోకస్ ఎపిసోడ్‌లో మనం ఇవాళ వుడ్స్‌లో ఉన్నాం. శంషాబాద్‌కొచ్చాము. యాక్చువల్‌గా అరికోకొచ్చాము. మనం వచ్చి శరత్ చంద్ర గారితో ఉన్నాము.
Yeah.
ద క్రియేటివ్ పర్సన్ బిహైండ్ దిస్. కనుక్కొని చెప్దాం. అసలు ఏంటి అరికో క్యాంపింగ్ కాఫే అంటే ఏంటి? వుడ్స్ అంటే వుడ్స్ శంషాబాద్ అంటే ఏంటి? మనం కనుక్కుందాము. హాయ్ శరత్ చంద్ర గారు. హౌ ఆర్ యూ?
Hi Andy, I'm very good.
గుడ్ గుడ్.
Yeah.
సో వుడ్స్ అరికో క్యాంపింగ్ కాఫే గురించి.
This journey started with Kiaro. Kiaro was my dairy brand that we started long time back. It was in 2011 and 12. We are the first company to introduce bottled milk in India, which is also the largest dairy farm where the milk we delivered untouched. So we had set up a 2000 plus cow farm with a fully automated dairy. That's how the whole journey started. Now we reduced the farm and then we moved from delivering milk. The perspective was to deliver a great quality milk, and that story is something much different. That's how we got to know to the food, and I spent more than 15 years plus only doing stuff and around food, and I've also evolved thoroughly in terms of understanding how as a produce, right from the produce, how process functions and how final products are actually made. You know, that's the chain basically. You probably మనం చూసేది ఏంటంటే ఈధర్ జనాలు ద ప్రొడ్యూస్ లెవెల్లోనే ఉంటారు, లేకపోతే ప్రాసెస్ లెవెల్లోనే ఉంటారు, లేకపోతే ఫైన్ ప్రోడక్ట్స్ లెవెల్లోనే ఉంటారు. These are the three different stages
Correct.
of an industry. But I think we are the one uh, who always wanted to take a control right from the produce to the final product. So that's the DNA we always have, irrespective of whatever we do it. You know, from the beginning, we put a lot of research before we do any product, and we always wanted to develop something what is need of the hour. Right? It's not something like ఏది ఎక్కువ మనీ సంపాదిస్తుంది అనే ఆస్పెక్ట్ పక్కన పెడితే we always look at as a product. We always look at the hero for us is the product. The hero for us is always the process and product that what we do. So that's the core DNA of this. And Kirti is my partner, and he's also been supportive in dairy and other parts. We travel pretty long now, so he's primarily focused into a real estate. So we're very like-minded people because our passion towards a product is a very common thing. Though I was doing food, that he was doing a real estate, but if you see the blend that we created here, it's something. There's a lot of miracles happening right now.
It's magic.
It's a magic. So if you, this is the let me also introduce Woods at Shamshabad is we all comes under a group called Stonecraft Group.
Okay.
So we primarily do a very unique product. As I said, for us, product is always a hero. So even in real estate, this is a project that we had built, which is the world's largest Miyawaki forest. We planted around 450,000 native trees, and we believe a very strong philosophy. All our brand, if you look at it, it's always built with bias.
Yes,
Like
yes.
it is, we've been talking most of the times we've been talking any, not just only in the real estate industry or food industry, any industry today, people talk about the balance.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know, balancing. We've been trained, we've been treated, we've been worked out our life only to talk about the balance.
Definitely,
Whether
yeah.
we follow the balance or we don't follow the balance, but though we called it as a balance, but most of the times it was an imbalance towards human centric. It is more, humans are more important all the time, whatever that we did.
Definitely.
And then now today the whole world is now suffering. We're talking about the carbon issues. We're talking about how the you know, the eclipse are changing, how the world is changing, how our lives are changing, the seasons are changing. And for that matter, if you see that today our predictions are very bad. There was a time people do not have a tech, but
Definitely.
but just by looking at the sky, they were understood that what's going to happen. But that prediction validation is gone because we messed it up in such a level. So the chain link of the nature is
There's
gone.
a huge imbalance.
There's a lot of imbalance there now. You wouldn't believe it. Like today, even though we are so advanced in artificial intelligence, we have put IoTs into our next level. We are sending a satellites to the skies, but using so much tech, and even till today, we don't know how do we predict the next year.
Definitely.
So we've miserably failed understanding that being all the time human centric. Now that is something what triggered us. That's something what we felt at anything that we promise, because today brands are given a lot of freedom to talk anything, whether they do it. It's because there is no vetting system to it. If I say that, hey, this is organic, okay, it's just written. So as a consumer, you don't have time to go and check how whether
Whether
it
it
is
is organic
or
or
organic or inorganic, or whether the practices are really there. If someone call it, we openly write everything premium, niche. So this has
so
become
we buy it at face
at the
value.
weight of
So
the face value. So there is no credibility. There's a lot of credibility. People who really do things, they suffer because it's very hard for the consumer to understand who's right. It's so much effort. There's so much thought process that has to go. You need to really study, and you should go to a university and college again to only to do that science to understand
R&D, yeah.
whether they're talking it right or no. It's not possible. And thinking in that direction, we felt it like, why don't we build something not to the humans, because we have done enough in terms of what we needed as a humans. Now let's giving it back to the nature. What we felt is actually doing good for humans. That's another way of to think that it's human centric. But for a moment, let's give up our comforts. Let's give up all our requirements. If you really want more existence on this globe or in this earth, it's very important that we have to create an imbalance, and we have to be more biased towards the nature,
Nature, yeah.
more biased towards the other side, what we never considered so far. So that's the core values as a philosophy we actually believe in. As a part of it, now if you see this project, we we built about we dedicated 18 acres of land, a very precious land, towards forest,
Okay.
and we planted about 450,000 native trees, about 156 native trees.
Amazing, amazing.
So you will see all kind of, when you say native trees, it doesn't, sustainability is always something which doesn't require anyone's help. That's called sustainable. So this is where the whole life comes out, right? So thinking in that direction of sustainability, we really wanted to do something uh, which is really sustainable. So we have to pull out, or we have to pick up a process or a method which is supporting towards it. So as a part of it, we felt Miyawaki forest, it's man-made and also self-sustainable, because you don't bring plants from across the globe, but you do take
The
a
native
research
tradition,
and put trees only which belongs in that place,
the native
the
plants.
native plants. So that way we have identified about 156 native trees over here. And it's easy. If you imagine just building a small garden in your backyard, it takes so much effort. If you
Definitely,
see that the
yeah.
amount of soil that you have to bring in, thinking about how to prepare your soil, how to prepare your pot, and then planting them, watering them,
That
and then
itself
taking
is,
care of
yeah.
them, having them putting in a right space where it required a very specific light condition to grow. So there is so much effort. Even to do a small backyard project itself takes a lot of time and a lot
Definitely,
of
yeah.
effort. Now if I say neem tree, if I now for example, out of if I even picked up 100 trees, we did, like, let's say out of 400,000 times divided by 100 trees, we're talking about a 40,000 neem trees.
Neem tea.
So sourcing so much of neem trees across the country is effort. A lot of people think, oh, it's native, it's easy. No, it's not easy. For you to procure of that size, that number, and all of that, to put together and make them to possible to survive here, it's like a great effort. It
Yeah.
takes ages. It takes. There's only one such projects which existed on this globe. That's what's at Shamshabad. The reason it's called, it's not just only because of so many plants it's done, but the efficiency that what we brought into this project is also very important. It required us so much dedication to bring it out to that level.
Yeah, like you said, because we have became very human centric, and
Correct.
all these species have gone endangered.
Yes.
So now we are getting to see that in woods.
This is what the new thing which will definitely come back. Like, for example, how you check IQs, the human intelligence, and then EQs, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient between two people, two humans. Now there is another thing called sensitivity towards the nature. That's very important. I call SQ. That sensitivity towards the nature is very, very important, and every one of us should start caring and looking out for it. That will change the perspective. Everything comes from the perspective. All you have to do is just be in a better perspective.
Yep.
Think something. Things don't change on its own, and things, nobody comes here to change it for you, because every one of us are contributing whatever the damage that has we've been talking. Now today it's time to set back. So we call it for a campaign. It's called being in imbalance, and we trying to be imbalance in everything. So as a part of it, when we saw all this were evolving, we started calling friends. We said we don't want to go out, spend time anywhere else. Now since I come from a very strong food background, we felt that I started realizing generally people, what do they do in the evenings or in the weekends? They step out, look out for a pub or a brewery or a club or a cafe or a small restaurant. And you live in a small square foot. Like, you come from a little wider space, you go to a smaller space,
Space.
and you call it that you're having a great
Big
time.
time.
So this has all happened because I own a cafe in Jubilee Hills, and we always had a fight. I don't want to do anything inside, and we have a very cozy cafe. We compromise to share the property with somebody else because I really want that space. I really like it, and it's been an adda for a lot of people for many years. So I liked it because it has an element that it is an extension to the KBR park.
Mm.
You sit from the from the cafe, you actually can feel the trees in KBR park.
Park.
You feel that it's overflowing on you. So there is a one thing you call indulge, which you go inside, but there is a thing like, it's like a beach waves
Coming in
flashing
from
on
the
you.
view,
It's like that overflow is something I really moved with that kind of view that I like there. And many of them question, like, you spend so much money to do this place, but why do you want to club with somebody else? It's like, it's not about whether I own the whole place or whether I get smaller, bigger, but it's more about the moment, the element. You sit there, you feel something.
Yep.
So it's not about lot of people. We were intentionally used only the natural elements. We had put up the Hyderabad meant for boulders. We're a stone city, Deccan city. So we built everything with the boulders, and we really want that to age well. So we don't want any kind of a fur or any cosmetic things, but it's built at the nature, beautifully done. It's more than what you do it like with the carpentry work, with interior work, but it's more done. You take a pipe, you wash it, it'll become fresh. But
That blends with the
the
nature.
blends with the nature. It's like a part. We made an extension to the nature where you could sit, but you are serviced. And gelatos and sorbetos, which is something we really, really made because we come from a dairy background. So we produce one of the finest quality dairy in the country, right? Even today. Even we have a small unit, but we understood that how somatic cell count can be kept lower, and delivering that into a regular consumable milk, we couldn't do it because of the scale. In terms, we don't want to give it for a distribution. It's too hard to maintain that quality. Then we realized, why don't we make a great product out of it? Then we started researching products. So we made cream cheese out of it. We make excellent gelatos. Like, gelatos are something, is a better version of ice cream, where it got only less than 50% of the fat that what you get in the other one. We really wanted people to indulge into the real product. We don't use any artificial things, and we don't do any store bought stuff. We always do all the ingredients are home done, produced by us, and done everything through our control. So that's the process that we built the whole place. But somehow the COVID hit and we couldn't focus so much there to build it out. But we're relaunching only for gelatos and sorbetos, which is going to be the best place for you to want to indulge into an ice cream, because we are putting so much research. Our space might be a smaller, but the research that what we are putting to do that product, we wanted to focus on very few things, but we wanted to do the depth. We don't want to do so many things. We just want to do. We did that, and we now today we are focusing to do a one good thing, which will definitely outstand any, because we build that with passion. For example, pistachio that we make, we don't compromise anything in that matter. We go to a very specific place in Italy. It's called churi churi. We source our pistachios raw material only from there. But we're specific about the chocolate. We're specific about the Alfonso. For example, we do an Alfonso mango where we get it from only one farm, which is about a 40-year-old farm, which exports the best quality of alfanzos. They're very expensive. Generally people, they do the pulp with the leftovers, but we tell them like we want the good quality one, and we store it for a year. Kala jamun, Indian traditional, all kind of tropical were done here, and then we store them properly, and then we make sure that we don't compromise in the equipment that we use. For example, to run this at 1200 1300 square foot, we have built a 6000 square foot kitchen. Our kitchen is bigger than our selling
Sales
space.
space.
Most of the times you see that
It's opposite.
it's the opposite. For us, the kitchen is bigger. A 4000 5000 square feet of kitchen to support just a 1500 square feet of cafe. So this shows how we are imbalanced. So
Definitely.
we're more towards the kitchen,
Kitchen.
because that's where the products are done. That's where we care about the chef. We care about the ingredient. We care about how they're making it. We care about everything about them, because end of the day, that one spoon that you take, it required so much artisan in the back. So that's how Airico is also built. Now when we came here, we felt, okay, why do you want to do it in a square foot? Let's put people into the acres.
Yes.
And why just you want to go for 2 hours or 3 hours of a break? And we host people in the camping cafe for more than 16 hours. Having people coming to the table, waiting them to finish, pay the 5,000 bill and go out is one thing, but having people, making them to survive for 16 hours and have that whole experience to that detail is not easy job. So we used to do a lot of brainstorming sessions here on every Sunday. We used to come here, cook small breakfast for us, but somehow that used to give a lot of energy for rest of the week. I knew that the day when I come here and spend a whole at least few hours or 4 5 hours, I'll have a good sleep that night. Maybe I'm a little obese, so I used to pant a lot when I'm in the town, like especially in the apartments. I knew that I could see that my breaths are different, but whenever I come here, I think a friend of mine who's a cardiologist, he came to us, Sharad, have you observed one thing? Whenever you're here, your panting is very gone. Like, it's like you're not doing it anymore. And I asked him why. Because every inhale that you take, if the amount of oxygen is good enough, then you don't need to put so much pressure, because this is a system, right? Your RO system, give a bad water and ask it to
Make it
filter it. So the machine has to work a lot. Like a human body, it's a machine. If you give good quality to it. We're doing it from the past 9 months. We hosted 2,000 plus people to camp here.
Amazing.
And very importantly, we don't allow parties here. We don't allow any of the noise here. We profile them. Uh, my team, at least they do a 40 minutes talk with each and every individual who is coming here to understand why they are coming, and what they should experience here and what they should expect here. So, and we profile them, we tell them in upfront, this is not something, if you want to spend so much money, you could spend it for a 5-star hotel and have a great cozy life. But this is more than that. This is something where you could see the nature. Like for example, while we are sitting here, I could see hundreds and thousands of butterflies and dragonflies which you don't find it regular in your day-to-day life.
It's
And you take a photograph, just take up at any of your camera on your mobile and click a picture that will tell you the pollution. If you ever travel to abroad, if you ever travel to Europe or America or any other part of the West, the photos come so good there because of the pollution component. Now we figured out, everyone, whoever clicks the picture here, you'll know that there is no pollution in it. the air is clean, and we dedicated 1,000. This is a 100 plots project. We dedicated 1,000 trees per person.
Oh, okay.
You just imagine if you go to a gated community, they call it as a balance. I'm not blaming anyone as such, but I'm trying to see that you take a spoon, ask all the gated community people to go downstairs and take up 1 spoon of water from a pool. The pool get exhausted. So this is the ratio that what you're talking about. So imagine like a project planting 1,000 trees per person is not a joke. It's very magnificent. I would call it, there's only one project in the entire world which is existing like this. That's what's at Shamshabad today. And we wanted that experience to share as much as possible with the like-minded people, and that's how the camping cafe came out. We bridged, we blended between a great quality food and a good quality art, along with the great
It
minds who
means
enjoy this. So it's more like, it's not a commercial activity. We in fact invest more than what we collect. And because we don't do it for a large crowd, this is done for a very small crowd. We host only 50 to 70 people. That's the max that we in a day. And we do it only once in a week. That way it got evolved well, and a lot of people had hosted. We had more than 2,000 people who had come here. Everyone had a great experience. There were summers which are very harsh, the winters are very cold, the rainy, some people like the rains, and along that side we also started calling for artists. We generally don't play music for the people who come here, but we tell them, you come and you perform. There's a zone that we created for you. You whatever you think is right, whatever you enjoy more doing it, you do it and you have an audience. So
definitely.
that is what we believe in, and that's how we make everything, every small to big thing. We are biased. We don't force anyone to anything. Even for the kitchen, sometimes they see what is good in the market. Sometimes whatever they could do it, they'll cook it instantly. This is more about being very natural. This is more about having a very common understanding about nature. And also, for somebody who's been living in a very busy life, this is a space for you to escape. You have an excellent time for sure. I mean,
Definitely, yeah.
I'll make sure that the nature is not compromised.
Yep.
Maybe I don't know about other things, but we make sure that the nature
Nature
is
is
not compromised
compromised.
here. So the nature is doing its job thoroughly. Now it is your turn. It's like dynamic. I don't know. I can't predict what is next Saturday, but definitely we make sure that even that Saturday is perfect.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So that's how the camping cafe has evolved. Now we're going to be. This is the monsoons. We started doing a different chapters seasons. So this is the monsoon season. So the set is done more where the covers are given. You still see the rain. You still listen to the music. But when it comes to the winters, you see a bonfire. You see a lot of other things which would come forward.
So it's a dynamic,
Every
and
week,
yeah,
to be very honest, every week, depending on who's coming, depending on who's going to perform, depending on what we're going to cook on that weekend. So this is something you should come for
come and
surprise.
experience and
Yes,
take the surprise given by
I
Mother Nature.
exactly. Experience shouldn't be expectations. It has to be natural. So we're trying to be as natural as possible, and we dedicate our very strong weekends to do this, and we love to do this because we feel you have a lot of energy when you start doing it.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that it gives a boost and a kickstart to your week.
Yes,
And
and it's also a strong community build. When people come here, we tell them, don't be yourself. Don't open they don't open the phones. If you have seen properly, not
maybe
not many
phones come
they
out.
don't come out. You are so much involved that whenever you have, that is the level of experience that you should get. That's when you'll know that this is right.
Definitely.
When you start picking up your photo, which means you'll try to take up a photo only when you know that you have to make it better. When it is already perfect for you, you'll forget to do that. Now this is the place where you forget to take out your photograph. So in the last 12 in 8-10 months, whatever we started, even till today, we're excited. We didn't realize that we already did so much. We still feel that it's just a beginning. So that feeling is giving us a confidence. That feeling is, whenever you have this sort of a feeling, when you know that you have done so much but you feel nothing, it shows that you're doing right things.
Well, I can say that the pudding is in the eating, and
Yeah.
we can see that in the numbers that
Yes.
most of them are enjoying and going back and relaxing,
Absolutely.
connecting one with the nature.
This is like Hyderabad. The city is just not very far from here. We just call people, just take a little curve,
And come
just
here.
come back and stay here and go back. So
So
that's the idea of this camping cafe now.
I wish you all the best,
Thank you so
and
much.
let's meet soon.
Yeah, thank
Thank you
you.
so much for
Thank you.
having me.